Hello, I'm Cookie Stoner, and welcome to Cookie Stoner Presents. I am here with Barry Sublett, our third segment about your coming out story. And it has been so emotional for me, as you and I talked about, that in your 30s, you spent time in a psych ward because you were not living as God made you. And I'm not going to be afraid to say that.
I was afraid of what I was so concerned about what people would think.
But it sent you to a psych ward until, then the best time of your life when you have a therapist, it's like somebody told you, it's okay. You were born that way. And you're like, okay, then I can accept myself. And then, going down this road for, 20 years of still not being yourself. As you said, you knew, people knew, but we're not going to talk about it. It's like saying the dirty secret, which it shouldn't be. And, or that may be what others perceive it to be. And then, don't ask, don't tell, whatever, even in, maybe some friendships. But most of your friends, as you said, and you don't want to have to walk up, as you said, hello, I'm Barry and I'm gay, just, so we can, you just want to be who you are. And like, even with that, like, you don't have to say to someone, oh, I'm Barry, yeah, my husband. That's when I love, like, being in certain cities where you hear people and they're talking, yeah, well, I'm my husband or my wife, a gentleman saying my husband and a lady might say my wife. No one feels like they have to qualify, and that's what I hope that's what we want to do, for in the conversation we're having. You discussed about finally, after marrying Tim in March, which I'm so proud, as I told you, and just grateful to be a part of that, because it was a big deal in your life, and to finally be so happy. You talked about how you had been a church pianist at the same church for 21 years, never, did your job well. You're a man of faith, never did anything, untoward. Everything you did, by the book, by the faith, and I know how you live your life. And then, had some kind of weird things happen, maybe people kind of trying to figure out and spy, and you said it sounded kind of weird, but things that people would not have known unless they knew your text or emails, and you're like, wait a minute, and I get that. Well, then you get married in March, you have the blessings of the people in the choir, and you didn't even,
some of them,
yes, some of them, your choir director, but you still never said, because even at your wedding, you didn't even say anything, because you told me, we're not putting anything on Facebook, we're not making a big deal of this, and all you did was a couple of pictures. You didn't even say, hey,
that was 2 months after we married.
Yeah, this was in March.
And I put two very nondescript pictures of us on my Facebook page, because I fully believed that people in the church, as they found out about it, nobody said anything negative. They all expressed happiness for me.
Well, nobody, we didn't have to talk about it. I mean, you still did your job, and I get that.
But all of that changed
in May, 2 months after.
The official reason given was that I could no longer fulfill the duties of my job description, because my full-time job would not allow me to attend a 1-hour choir rehearsal on Wednesday night.
Was that true?
That's true.
Okay.
But
you still would have been able to fulfill your job.
It had not been an issue a few months earlier, when I had to take an absence from choir rehearsal because of some things going on at work.
Were you still able to fulfill that job
They had
and play?
somebody, to take care of the choir rehearsal on Wednesday night. But 3 days after the pictures were posted, I got an email saying that they needed, that the pastor and
that was
one
in
other person
May.
needed to meet with me. And I was told on that Sunday morning by the choir director, who resigned because of some issues that she had going on, that I couldn't be fired, but I was going to be forced to resign. And I said, this has absolutely nothing to do with my full-time job. And she shook her head no. And so it broke my heart, because I had faithfully served that church for 21 years. I had gone above and beyond my job description. I never one time said no to anything that I was asked. No one ever complained about any music. I only got compliments. and I wasn't seeking compliments. You know, I'm not a person who needs
Well,
to be
no,
complimented.
but you still love
But-
to know that you're doing that's still doing your job well. I
And
mean,
then-
even though you loved it as a Christian playing the piano in your gift.
And that was
That's
how
your job.
that's how I worshiped. I felt God in my fingers.
Yes.
I don't openly talk about my faith, but I could feel God moving through my fingers every time.
Well, that's
I
an
played
important
the
part of the
piano.
service. Yes.
And to be
Cast out.
cast out because of two people, the pastor and one other, and he will deny it until the day he dies. But I know the truth, and most of the congregation knows the truth.
Were you still able to play on Sundays and do well, even though you missed that 1 hour rehearsal?
I could have, yes,
Well,
absolutely.
that's what I mean. So that's my
told
point.
That was not acceptable.
But what I'm saying is, you were still able to do your job.
Yes.
That was my question.
And
so you were.
a proposal had been made to bring in a college student to cover that rehearsal, and then he or she, whoever they hired, would play the choir anthem on Sunday, because it was, you know, they knew they would know the song. I wouldn't.
But you had many other times to play
Yes,
for
yes,
them. So
absolutely.
it's still you
So
would have
I
been able to keep
still be doing preludes, offertories,
Oh, okay.
postludes, that kind of thing. But
Okay.
this person would take the choir
Just that
anthem,
one
which
choir
I was
thing.
absolutely fine with,
Yeah.
and they were going to take that out of my salary.
right.
Suddenly, that was
And you're
not,
okay with that?
They that was not acceptable.
acceptable.
And so that's when I realized that those two people were not pleased with what I had done. But you know what? I didn't need their permission, and I didn't need their acceptance. The Supreme Court said
Yes,
this
that's
was
right.
legal.
That's right.
And I have no regrets. I have no apologies to anybody. It was legal what I did, and I married somebody that I love more than anything in the world, who turned my life around and made me happy for the very first time. It still hurts every time I think about it. Every time I see somebody, or somebody will send me a message saying, "We sure do miss you," it stabs me again, and I ask to be taken off the mailing list, because it's a wound that just won't close as long as I'm. But it has taken me from May until now to realize God gave me a talent. I have played the piano once since that Sunday. I just can't bring myself to do it. But that began to change Sunday. I thought, this is a talent that I was given. They can remove me from my position, but they can't take away my talent. I have visited a few churches. It's very hard for me when the music starts, because it's a flow of emotions. Kind of disenchanted me, I guess, with religion.
Sure.
Even though that's.
I understand what you're saying.
But I know that will change. Time will heal. Right now, I'm still in the getting over it stage.
Sure.
But yeah, that's the only negative thing that came out of my marriage. And I know I have the love and support of many, many people.
And you have a lot of
Some that I
support
never in a
involved.
million years thought that I would. Everybody has been so kind. Yeah, wedding gifts, never expected that. Are you registered
Yeah.
anywhere? No, I hadn't even thought about
Yeah.
that.
Oh, I love
You know,
it.
just things that I never thought would happen.
Oh.
And was so afraid to admit, or afraid for people to know. What are they going to think about me? And Tim tells me that all the time. Don't worry about what people think about you.
I mean, here you are sharing this. And like I said, I've known you for a long time, and I know, just because being there in March, I knew your anxiety. I knew your anxiety, and it broke my heart. But to see you now this many months, and you know, the sad, or the thing, maybe the good part, or the silver lining, is that when you lost that job, here you are happier. You have no regrets. And sometimes you have to let some of those other things go to say, wow, I have no regrets to be who I am, to love who I love, and that's what this has all been about.
And
That's what
Tim
this-
has Tim
and
tells
Tim
me
is
that just about
wonderful.
every day. You know, believe in yourself, accept who you are. Don't be ashamed. Don't be afraid. Only you can change how you believe. And so I have done that, or I'm in the process
That's
of doing
right.
it. You know,
I think you're doing real well.
In people at my primary job, no, nobody was nobody was displeased by it. So
And if they are,
no, I mean,
they're
they
not
were
your
all-
people.
And
They're not your people, if anybody.
what was so funny to me is going back to the church thing. The first two people who made a comment were women in their 80s who said they were happy, not the 20-year-olds.
Wow.
Women in their 80s who were on my side. And
'Cause they
that
knew who you
was
were.
and I barely knew either one of them. And it was incredible for
To
them
have that support.
to support me like that. So anyway,
Well, you've got a lot of love. You got a lot of support. I am so grateful to you for coming because, as I said, I know you. I've known you a long time. You are a man of few words. You have so many people who do love you, and it was the most beautiful wedding. And you had the most beautiful music, and it was wonderful. All these beautiful beauty queens all around you, and you said it, not I. It was the gayest thing you'd ever done, and I loved it. It was great.
it was funny about the music because I'm a very traditional person.
Oh, I know you are,
Tim
but
picked out all
y'all
of
boy
the-
had that Broadway going.
Tim chose the gathering music.
Right.
I selected the preludes. I mean the what do you call it? The processional
Right,
music.
professional.
And the
Processional, yes.
processional was of all titles to do the theme from Forrest Gump.
That's right. I love it. It
Beautiful
was
music.
everything. I mean, it was
And the postlude was the theme from Superman. 'Cause
Superman.
It's
That's
happy.
what.
It's a
That's right. It
happy
was
song.
Superman. That's right. And you did have the best music. Maybe what we can do is, and of course I know we have to do all this copyright stuff. They'll shut us down if you have any other music. Like if we did, I would love to be able to just show that. But yeah, so it was the processional was
The Forrest Gump.
Forrest
suite,
Gump, then
theme from Superman.
the same theme from Superman.
And the
that
reason
was,
that I
was,
chose that is because it's a very happy song.
right.
And also, it was the first song that I ever played when I was a freshman in the Auburn band, Auburn University band.
Right.
And have loved that song since. And I always wanted one of my dancer beauty queens to
do it, and they wouldn't
dance,
do it?
And, you know, they had other,
So you have
they
got
had
to have
other
it for your
ideas.
wedding.
So, you know,
got to
I
have
had it for mine.
See, aren't you saying? See, you and so Tim and Barry are registered at. Okay.
No, we never registered.
Well, y'all need to.
You know, I've accumulated so much stuff that I didn't need wedding gifts, but I
But it
very much appreciate it.
very much appreciate it. Well, Barry, thank you again for your time. I love you so much. Thank you for just. I mean, I know you're such a quiet, reserved guy, but I just love you. I love Tim. You tell him I said hello.
I will.
And I'm speechless just simply because your story's beautiful. It makes me happy, and I know you will inspire others. So.
Well, I hope so.
I know
And
you will.
My one thing that I would say is what Tim tells me just about every day: don't worry about what people think. You make yourself happy, and if it's a man marrying a woman, wonderful. If it's a man marrying another man or a woman marrying another woman, if that is what it takes for you to be truly happy, go for it.
And he gets the last word.